Hey, I'm Aaron from GameEnthus.com, and I'm doing a quick preview for a game called Tiny Mini Golf. So, Tiny Mini Golf is a roll and write designed by Kamiński. It's playable from, I don't know. I guess it's one of those games where I think if you have an even number of people and enough sheets, you're probably pretty good. There's a bunch of different ways to play where you can play simultaneous, you can race. There's a couple of options for different ways to play the game. Also the art design was done by Dixie Leota. It's also definitely worth mentioning. As you can see, there's art and things in front of you. I am using my phone here, so hopefully, it decides to play ball and doesn't act a fool. So you can actually make dice yourself. I'm using the app, which features you can just hit roll and kind of roll, and you do your roll. And there's another set of dice. This is a custom dice app, and it's already been preloaded with the art. Okay, so in the game, you are designing a mini golf course for your friend to play on, and they're doing the same for you. So you write the name, you write your name in for designer and the player you're doing it for, and vice versa. And you're going to go through 8 different rounds where you're going to be rolling the terrain dice, as you can see here on the app. And the terrain dice are going to dictate the types of obstacles and things you can put in people's way. So you have the walls, which are any of the objects with the slashes in it. You have the bodies that are sand. Let me see if I can roll. And then you also have water. So you have walls, sand, and water. So things that you just have to be cognizant of because, yeah, they're going to get in the way. Okay, so what each player will do at the same time at the beginning is draw a starting hole. So you can really see you can see the circles there. So that's the hole that you're starting from, and then your actual goal will be a filled in hole with the triangle. So once the terrain dice are rolled, this is what we have here. You have to pick one. So you're either picking a wall that's going to be a hole in 2 halves, 2 complete sand parts, but you have to combine them. And same with the wall, or you just pick water. So the thing is, you're trying to be mean. You're trying to create a really difficult golf course for your friend to attempt to finish. All the dice kind of have to be touching on the edges of, well, for the walls, you can't just have the points touching. So say I, for whatever reason, did that for a half, and then I did that for a half. Okay, so that phase is done, and then we move on to the second phase, which is playing the hole. So for that, I'm going to want to go back and use these dice. So you have what's called the precision dice, which allows you to go in a specific direction, but then so I can roll the other one. Okay, so then this is the dice where you miss, or you're trying to go in a certain direction. So if you get into a sand trap and you're dependent upon what this die is, if it's this one with the squiggly line, then the person who designed your course gets to decide what direction the ball actually goes in when you've already kind of stated where you like it to go. They get to decide for you. Dang. So what you're doing is you're calling out your power. If you look in the sheet here, you'll see it says power 0 to 1, which is light, medium 2 to 3, and then maximum 4 to 12. That's pretty hot. So before your shot, meaning before the die roll, you're actually just calling out, hey, I want a power of 2. So if you're talking power of 2, then you'll be in. If you're talking power of 2, then you'll be in the medium range, which means you'll be focusing on what the yellow die is. If you call out 4 or higher, you're looking at what the maximum range is. If you call out 0 to 1, you're looking at what the green die is. The actual target reticle just means whatever number you call out, that's what you get. So if you call out 3, then, and this comes up on the yellow die, the target reticle icon, you just get 3. If you get +1, +2, you're adding whatever the plus is to what you called out. So if you call out 1, then you're looking at the die here, but if +1 comes up, then you're moving 2 spaces. And a whole space is just moving through like a whole block. That's what 1 stroke is, if you will. Probably should cross these out too. Since we did finish them, there we go. All right, so as I said before, if you're in a sand trap, you're really dependent on what the precision die can do for you. Also, if your ball falls into the water, you're out for that entire turn. Not out of the game, you're just out for that particular stroke. And then you're gonna circle or cross off one of the +1s at the bottom here, and it's golf, so you want the lowest score. So anyone that you crossed off or circled, you're adding to your score at the end of the game, thus sort of ruining your chances for having a lower score, because it's still golf. Let's say I rolled, and, well, I should call something out first. I'm starting over here, so I'm actually starting, well, normally you would switch sides. So you normally, okay, you start off the way you should. You would switch sides with your opponent. Well, switch sheets, I should say. And then you'd begin. So let's say player A called out, well, they clearly want to go straight, but they don't want to go, they want to go too far. So let's say they want to go a power of, let's say they want to go a power of 2, which means you're looking at the medium. So they're going to roll. Okay, so they got +2 on the yellow, which means they're going to go 4. So they're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you just circle that and write in 1. So that's like your first stroke, if you will. And player over here, let's say they want to go, 2. So they're looking at yellow. Okay, so they got a +1, so they're going to go 3. So I guess that will be 1, I think, 2, 3. I'm not sure how that. I think 1, 2, 3, because the bounce doesn't count as something, I don't think. So then they would circle that, and then, well, it's supposed to be a 1 in there, but you can get the idea. So how the game would ultimately end is once you have gotten your ball actually to the hole. So let's say that was my second stroke. And then my third. And then, if I'm just showing off here, let's say I managed to do this in 4 strokes, which I've never done that. But let's say I managed to do that. Plus, I made it, all this open space is kind of nuts. Normally, you really make it, like, if you're playing correctly, you would give the person a very narrow path with which to try to be successful. So let's say I did all that. So what you do is you would take your whole score, assuming you didn't add any of these. Let's say I did it in 4, which is no. And then let's say this player's score was 6. You would subtract the score of the opponent's, the score of the opponent whose course you designed from yours. And, I'd say I had -2. So if I got 4 and they got 6, I had -2. It's a pretty low score. Also, probably not that realistic, but you never know. So that is pretty much how the game would end. And yeah, so there are several different modes of play. You have what's called a racing mode, which is actually the default for 2 players. You have the cheering mode, which is recommended. The recommended default for 3 to 5 players. So it depends on if you want to go, hole by hole, or play at the same time, working with the same roles, where you're calling out where you're trying to go and hoping that you don't get into sand traps or don't have your ball fall in the water, which will increase your score at the end of the game. But that's tiny mini golf. That is basically how it plays. It's pretty quick, pretty snappy. It feels pretty intuitive. I feel like the designer definitely thought a lot about how you would recreate mini golf. Even, if you hit a flat object head on, you kind of bounce back to where you were. The whole precision die thing, where you're really dependent on getting that precision icon to come up. Otherwise, the person who designed your course gets to decide what direction your actual golf ball goes in, which is really not what you want, especially playing with somebody that's very vindictive and they're already kind of mad at you because you did something to them earlier. It's a whole thing. But yeah, that is Tiny Mini Golf from Kamiński, and that is up on Kickstarter, I believe. There should be a link in the description should you wish to back it. So I found it to be pretty fun and pretty enjoyable. I did just print these sheets out and just laminate them myself, so I'm not actually fully certain on what the final game will come with. And some of these things here are possibly subject to change. Some of the rules are still subject to change as well. So just bear that in mind. But overall, it's pretty fun. And I think you can play at a pretty decent player count too. Especially playing in tandem too. I mean, playing with 10 people, which I don't know if that's advised or not. I mean, all the rules talk about, well, it says 3+. So basically, I think if you have an even number of players, you should be good. Everybody has somebody to draw their course and ruin their life. One fun game at a time. Anyway, that's going to do it for me. That is Tiny Mini Golf. Anyway, thank you for watching. Take care. Stay safe. Be blessed.